Hello everybody, and we are diving headfirst into Rocket League here, Ashburton College up against Palmerston North boys. We are kicking it off with the second game already well underway. My name is Midnight, and joining me for this exciting series, kicking it off of a bang, is Formal.
Yeah, and I mean, talking about kicking it off of bang, not only are we one game in, for the record, Ashton did beat Palmerston 3-2, but they're continuing with that same momentum from before as the Ferret Goat is able to get a kickoff goal right there, making it 1-0 again in Ashton's favor.
Yeah, and Ashton are already ahead in this series, and it looks like they might be building up a bit of a lead as Ferret Goat slams in a second.
That was the exact same kickoff twice in a row right there, just a little bit faster to the ball, Ashton appears to be, and able to keep cheating forward. Now, if you're on the Palmerston side, especially those defensive players, they need to be getting those corner boosts and getting back into that goal to sort of stop that quick attack. A little bit too slow on the ball right now from Palmerston.
Yeah, and it's a bit worrisome that you effectively get the same play twice. That just should not be able to happen, but it looks like Palmerston have upped their game a little bit here. But Ashburton not done just yet, looking to try and make some offensive work. Ryman trying to do something up in the air, but it's not finding the openings he's looking for. And Coco...
That's not good. I mean, self-explanatory situation right there. Coco was trying to get possession of the ball and throw it to the corner, but just put a very awkward touch on it and kind of hand-delivered the goal right there. You don't get much more own goal than that. Again, you can see what he was trying to do. He was trying to go for the right thing, but if you're going to throw the ball across the box, I say this time and time again, you have to have the utmost confidence in it, and clearly not there in that instance. So, once again, a one-score game.
Yeah, a little bit heartbreaking for him there. Hopefully he can recover in the future. Nice defense there coming out of Coco. Stop Kaiser Chief from forcing too much on the offensive play here. But feels like, for now at least, Ashburton, they've got themselves a nice lead, and they feel like they're playing back a little bit. They seem to hold on with the defense, but it doesn't matter as Kaiser equalizes the scoreline.
Yeah, now this was actually a pretty straightforward goal right now. A really great setup from, I want to say Raffman, I believe is his name. That said, when it's that close to the goal, considering though many cars are in the box, you'd actually expect someone from Ashton to be able to get a better touch in that situation. Normally you'd want to put the ball a bit further out of the box when coming for the approach like that, but kind of getting a little bit lucky in that Ashton wasn't prepared for it to be that tight, so quite a simple dunk. Good setup so far. I'm liking the comeback from Palmerston. I wouldn't mind seeing them get a bit more aggressive, challenge a bit more. Plays like that, I think, will benefit them more in the long term.
Yeah, but we'll see if they can pull that off, as I'm seeing quite a few double commits poking their nose around Formal, which we both know aren't exactly ideal. So hopefully teams can put a little bit of trust and faith into each other as Kaiser and Coco butt heads on for the ball there. Jake goes up into the air, tries to set it up for Kaiser in the middle lane, and he slams it through.
And that's the second time in a row we've kind of seen poor defense from Ashton when it comes to playing off the backboard or out of the corners. They seem a lot more comfortable when the ball's coming straight at them. This could be an exploitable attack area for Palmerston if they can continue to get that velocity onto the setups. I should say like horizontal velocity. Get that ball in the air, play off that backboard, because until Ashton can sort of read that correctly, that just keep exploiting that weakness. Just keep going there again and again and again should be the strategy from this Palmerston side.
I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The classic Australian motto, and if it keeps working, keep doing it. So we'll see, can this assault continue coming out of Ashburton, as we're seeing Kaiser Chief once again trying to make something work, but follow through in the middle again. This time the angle not exactly on. OG Jake for the follow through does not connect.
Yeah, the angle wasn't good, but again, it's the exact same approach. Palmerston has done it 3 times in a row, and really, I'd say 3 times it's been successful as well. Yes, the shot wasn't in, but it could have been, and it should have been realistically. Really a great offensive effort coming from this Palmerston side. If you're on Ashton right now, like, they're not even touching the ball. That's a great setup, but again, Raffman can't follow through. Perhaps Kaiser Chief can. Good angle, good goal, 4-2 in favor of Palmerston.
And they're just not rotating. On the side of Ashburton, the defensive rotations just look a little bit all over the place. We see Volti wasn't exactly sure where he was meant to be. Koku wasn't even in the picture. And Ferret was rotating, but he was a solid 5 seconds behind where his team needed him to be. So we'll see, can Ashburton tighten up their defense? They started this game explosively, and they might get a follow-through goal. No, the crossbar getting in the way, in fact. But Ever since those first 2 goals, Palmerstone's had their number and been happy to take him to town. That might change. No, Kaiser coming in to hold the line.
Going back to your point, though, real quickly about Ashton's defense rotations, it's not that they've necessarily been bad. It's actually been mechanical mistakes. They just haven't been able to put the car on the ball. Simple things, again, coming from out playing off that backboard. It seems like if it comes at an odd angle, the players don't have the confidence or the mechanical ability to really get solid touches like that right there. They need more of that, just driving touches off the ball when on defense to try and force Palmerston back on that back foot. They've been lacking it thus far, and again, now we're starting to see Palmerston start to push down the middle. They're not going to have as much success there. Open goal situation. Kaiser should be able to get there, but Ferret Goat able to clear it out.
Yeah, and a really nice clear there, but will it net them anything more? Not happening when Roughman gets involved, throwing the ball out. Coco is able to catch it. Jake should be able to simply slow down any offense there. Coco getting yeeted out of the way completely. Ferret has a nice setup, but there's just no more follow-through here coming from the side of Ashburton. Ferret's trying to do something cutesy in the air, but it's just not working out.
Yeah, I mean, the decision not to follow that one through was the correct one. You typically don't want to push into the box on an attack unless you are 100% sure you can actually make that touch, or at the very least get a demo. Otherwise, you're just throwing yourself out of position for no reason. So a good patient attack, it doesn't result in a goal this time around, but I like the thinking behind it. However, that counterattack, much more effective. Ferret Goat brings us back within 1.
Yeah, 1 goal now separating these teams. Ashburton finally found their openings here, and really nice shot from Ferret. This man, from the offensive side, has been dragging his team towards the line of victory. So we'll see if he can continue this attack. But the ball being missed by everybody slows it down for now. But a lovely shot, but a lovely defense coming out of Ferret Goat once again to hold the goal difference at only 1.
Double commit into the corner, though, could open something down the middle. I don't think the rest of Palmerston was expecting it, and that's an awkward miss from Raffman. I'm starting to see a few unforced errors coming from this blue side. OG Jake missed a couple, and they're turning into goals back the other way. Ferret Goat equalizing this game right back up. Good setup from Coco as well.
And there's less than a minute on the clock when he slams that one down. The fact that this man is finally finding his openings for this offense is fantastic for the side of Ashburton, because that's where they're going for. As well, they're driving forward now as Kaiser now trying to grab the ball. He needs it as there's 40 seconds remaining. He's driving it forward to set up in the air for his team. OG Jake not able to get the connection.
And that was a beautiful touch by Ferret Goat as well. This could actually turn into a very quick counterattack. Coco's up, but the backboard play seems to be coming together for Palmerston in this situation. Vloxy does get bumped off it. Perhaps Ravman could be able to turn around. 1v1 situation. Coco able to steal it off him. Just 18 seconds to go. Next goal probably wins this game. Shots on target, but Ferret Goat's able to get the height needed for the save.
At 10 seconds before we hit overtime, this attack coming out of Palmerston needs to work. It needs to connect, but no one's in the greater position. Getting so close once again, but not working out for Palmerston. They've got one last-ditch effort from Jake, but it will connect, and we go into overtime.
There were some hints of Spydos right there from Coco at the very end, nearly own goaling it. That was such a dangerous touch. However, off the kickoff, Raffman nearly is able to take it straight down the center. That's where we've seen, Ashton struggle on defense now. Not enough velocity for a counterattack, or is there? Floxy can't get the touch needed. Double commit. Open door. Coco's going to take this one in overtime.
Oh, they accidentally let it set up in the middle without thinking it there. And Coco's like, thank you very much. I will end this overtime 14 seconds into it.
And that's such a risky push from Coco as well. 9 times out of 10, you are not going to get a goal right there. You're sort of relying on a defensive mishap, and yet that's exactly what happened. Nerves getting to Palmerston, forcing an awkward double commit, and Ashton pull off the 3-goal comeback, might I add, to take this thing into overtime and then win it in that fashion as well. So a great game for Surf from this Ashton side, who are now 1 game away from taking this match in a clean sweep.
Yeah, I'd say, you say clean sweep, but this second game was very close, almost being headed up by Kaiser Chief and Ferret Goat in, the way that they've scored their goals. So, it's very interesting to see coming into our third game. Will they continue this onslaught, or is this the opening that Palmer has to really start counterattacking?
Again, I mean, I feel like Palmerston kind of got away from what was giving them a lot of that success, which was playing through the corners, playing off the backboard to set up in that facet. And a big reason for that was Ferret Goat started to challenge a lot more further up the pitch and wasn't really letting Palmerston have the space to get these clean setups. So it was a great individual effort coming from Ferret Goat to drag him back. And that's what has me nervous. Unless Palmerston can really have an answer and maybe win a few more 50s, be a little bit faster when that ball's in no man's land, they're still going to struggle in this one. They know how to score those goals. It was pretty obvious after the first 3 minutes in that game, but being able to execute it again now that Ashton is kind of clued in on how they like to set up, that's where that challenge is going to be. So keep your eyes on Ferret Goat. He's going to be very critical in how this third game progresses.
Yeah, and we'll be getting into that third game in just a moment's time. As another thing I do want to raise is you're talking about that we see constant uses of like double commits and triple commits coming in from both of these two teams. And it feels like it is starting to hurt them a little bit as, you know, what can, like, maybe is it a matter of just people not entirely trusting their instincts to be able to get into the right position at the right time?
No, it's usually a case of just not communicating who's going where and at what time. It's basic communication to sort of stop some of these awkward double commits. I have to admit, though, while yes, it has led to some awkward situations, there hasn't been anything too devastating until that one at the very end of the game. That was really the most egregious play. If I were to sort of pick an area of improvement really from both of these teams, more so actually on the Ashton side, would be their initial defensive touches. That's kind of been what's been lacking and what's opening the door a bit more for Palmerston. That said, though, if we're looking at the Palmerston side where I want to see them improve, again, it's less so on the double commits and just more so on the general positioning. It feels like when they go on the attack, they like to push very far forward, and at times that's left them exposed to a quick counterattack, specifically from Ferret Goat. So those are the two situations I'm going to be watching for in this one to see how these teams adapt to it. It's going to be a very interesting game. I want to see a little bit deeper rotations almost from both sides. Obviously, a 5-4 game is a very high-scoring game. Let's bring that score total down. Let's up that defense. Let's play a bit more conservatively. It's now time for Game 3.
Yeah, let's dive head first and see who will be taking control. We're seeing Rybrand going into the air, not able to get past the defense, though. Ashburton not wanting to give them any openings as soon as possible, because we know these games typically start off quite explosively. Set up in the middle, though, and once again, Ferret stamps his authority in the early start.
Kaiser Chief just got stuck in no man's land and had no confidence to make any sort of play right there. Raffman as well went for a backboard clear. I give Raffman a bit more credit. That's a tough one to hit at that velocity, but Kaiser Chief, if you're going to be sitting in the box with the boost, you've got to be willing to commit for those kinds of touches. Otherwise, you know, when you hesitate, you get burned. So an awkward back from Makoko right now could open the door right back for Palmerston to tie this.
Yeah, as they're now diving forwards, they really need to tie it up. You don't want to accidentally let anyone get a bigger lead on you. But we're seeing a few misses on the ball. Kaiser Chief might have an opening, but not when Volty hits it a little bit wide. If Kaiser can get this, though, this could be an opening. It's set up in the middle. No one is in position to punish, however.
Both of these teams just feel so much more confident when they're on the attack right now. They're making better reads, having better touches. The defenses are always panicking. Case in point right there. A wild swing at the ball when it's not even moving just equals an easy go for Raffman. A little bit of help from his teammate at the very end. I believe, yeah, it was OG Jake just bumping him in, you know, to help make sure he gets that goal. I would have liked to see Jake jump up and steal it away. I think that would have been funnier, but as it stands, once again, we are tied.
Yeah, and now, after drawing it up, we'll see who can start grabbing themselves a bigger lead. An attack coming here from Ashburton could be quite nice, but just slowing it down. They're not able to find their openings. A counterattack from Jake, but Jake seems more interested in just ramming people out of the way. Teammates or enemies be damned.
Yeah, I mean, he's going for 50-50s a lot of the time, just because that's where, you know, Triumph has been to go for this series. Not a lot of pass plays coming through. A lot of it is based on that individual getting that key last touch when on offense to set up the rest of the team. Raffman, no boost really to go for the double touch, and the defense makes the save. Kaiser Chief having that open goal, not able to connect, and now it'll lead to that counterattack. Finally, we saw a pass, but this is why the pass plays aren't going for it. Vloxy didn't even want to leave that defensive positioning right now to even attempt to catch the pass. Both teams just relying on those individual setups, not so much team play in this one.
Yeah, and I feel like that's, when you look at the meta situation, a lot of teams are sometimes being put together, and the skill levels can vary quite a bit. So that's probably something that comes in there. As we're seeing Jake trying to do a contest in the air. That's 4 people dancing in the air to try and fight that shot there. Rybrand not able to get the opening he was looking for, and getting just bullied around by Ferret.
Yeah, I mean, Farragut definitely going to go ahead and sort of stop any chance of some cheeky, tight rotations in that instance. Interesting situation, though, because Ashton all caught up in that same corner. Coca in a great place to pass, but because of the double commits, there's going to be no one there to catch it. And OG Jake nearly turns that into a goal for the Palmerston side.
Yeah, and Coco's a little bit of mishaps up in the air does punish them hard, but at least they didn't get scored against Kaiser, though. Looking to try and change the tune, but the ball is in a very dangerous position. Ferret not able to get the ideal angle, but it is still sitting in front of the goal. So yeah, nice clear out. That should slow things down, and Ashburton will have to bring it up.
Oh, that's unfortunate from Vloxy right there. Wasn't even a particularly hard set corner play, but similar mistakes, similar errors coming from that Ashton side. It seems like whenever the ball hits the wall, they just, unless you're a Ferret Goat, you're struggling to read where it's going to go. So Palmerston playing through the corners, playing off the backboards. That's how they get their goals. They get another one right here.
Yeah, and now they're going to be charging forwards from Palmerston. They need to build up a bigger lead, though. One goal's not going to save them, especially when shots are getting that damn close. Ferret coming in to almost slam it through to equalize the scoreline, but not able to get the ideal connection as Kaiser. That's a bit of an interesting
Okay, and that's what I mean about breakdowns in communications. Either OG Jake didn't call Kaiser off, or Kaiser just wasn't listening to the play, and that really stops that attack at the moment. Under 2 minutes remaining, Ashton, they are looking to put a bit more pressure perhaps, although it's actually coming from the Palmerston side. Great setup for Kaiser. He lightly taps it, but it's enough power to get it in. 2-goal advantage to the blue side.
And this is where Palmerston can start feeling a lot more safe. They've now got themselves that two-goal advantage. That once they can start, now they can afford to make a few errors. It's not ideal, but if there is a brutal counter-attack coming out of Ashburton, they should be able to survive it for at least a little bit longer here.
And who's the player who's gone a bit more quiet this game compared to what we saw before? This man, Ferret Goat, a chance to turn it right back around, but just does not have the speed to beat out Raffman, which was actually a great defensive touch. One of the better ones we've seen from Palmerston still, though. Vloxy going to put more pressure into that box. Ferret Goat is the one who I want to see get activated again. He's still going for these challenges, but the follow-through either hasn't been good enough, or sometimes, you know, Palmerston has been a little bit faster. Another shot on target from Ferret Goat. This time, Kaiser Chief able to make that save.
Yeah, able to save on that situation there, and Coco gets demoed, but Volti not willing to let the attack end. They're either trying to force it through, and the shot goes a bit wide. Well, really?
What a very fortunate bounce right there. I mean, the setup was super great. A double commit coming from the Palmerston side, and the pinch just goes perfectly in Ferret Goat's favor, squeaking into that bottom right-hand corner of the goal. And Ashton, you know, they came back in game number 2. In fact, the comeback, I think, was a little bit more than in this one, so definitely not done yet. Palmerston has to be careful, and that's not the touch that Jake was looking for. Still, Raffman able to attempt to take it down the middle.
Yeah, a nice shot there. Very interesting. There's been a lot of just wild misses out from both these teams, and it is hurting them here. Now only 1 goal difference, less than a minute remaining. As Raffman trying to go in the air, but Ferris not going to let that one pass. It skipped over the team. No! People just aren't in the position they need to be.
And OG Jank, for the second time this series, gets stuck in no man's land, not really sure how to react. Kaiser Chief at least went up for it, but unfortunately unable to connect. That goal was so similar to the overtime goal that we saw in game number 2, realistically, when you sort of look at the positioning of the players and their reaction to it. I do feel as if Palmerston, under the pump, are a bit more likely to make unforced errors, so they're going to need to calm themselves down right now. 40 seconds remaining. Next goal could possibly end this match.
Well, there's 30 seconds left on the clock. Let's see who will be able to grab themselves a lead. We've had overtime once before this series, but it might not happen again. As Voxy in the setup, not able to get the connection he's looking for. Coco doesn't want to let this attack end, but will be forced to back away. Ferret Goat, we have to keep our eyes on him for the offense, but he hasn't got a whole lot of boost to work with, so he's going to have to be slowing this down. 15 seconds, Coco trying to force something across the line. It's set up in the middle, but there's no one in position. Ferret gets the shot!
That was so beautifully done by Ferret over a lot of it. He does the fake attempt. Coco with that pinch off the wall, forces the awkward touch, and Ferret Goat able to beat out Vloxy. He would have thrown that ball to the corner and ruined everything. Instead, Ferret Goat gets there first, gets the go-ahead goal with 12 seconds remaining. That could be the series.
Yeah, but there's still 10 seconds left. Let's not count Palmerston out just yet, but it's going to look very hard, especially with the ball positioned where it is. They're going to have to pull off an insane attack, and I feel like it's just going to be far too late. The ball hits the ground. That is going to be it, and that will be Ashburton claiming victory in this series.
Ashton, I mean, it took three games. I can't speak on behalf of the first one if it was a comeback or not, but I can tell you the score of the first game was 3-2 in favor of Ashton. So they won all three games with a 1-goal differential, one of them in overtime as well, two of them at least with comebacks of 2 goals or more. So definitely this Ashton team was the team more confident when under pressure. Now, not necessarily sometimes in terms of their defense positioning, but it was sort of like when it was time to switch on, Ferret Goat would switch on and just force a lot of these attacks. Coco and Vloxy as well had a couple key touches which enabled Ferret Goat. But if we're looking at an MVP, looking at a star on this one, 100% Ferret Goat just completely dominated this series.
Yeah, he did fantastic in this whole series, and you can't take it away from him. I'm pretty sure he's been the highest. I think he scored pretty much every goal that we witnessed, -1, which was the overtime breaking goal in the second game of the series. So massive credit where credit is due.
Yeah, absolutely. He was consistently the fastest player to the ball when it was in no man's land. He was the one who would get, the most horizontal with the quickest pace. He just was the fastest player on this day. And while we did see some good moments from Kaiser Chief, from Raffman, from OG Jake, the problem was they would also have moments where they were in the wrong position. They would hesitate. They would just be that little bit too slow. And every time when it mattered most, Ferret Goat was there to punish. So a well-earned victory for this Ashton side. Now, they are in this New Zealand division, so there are a couple really strong teams still near the start. Maybe this can lead into a last sort of moments push for Ashton to get into that playoffs. But if we're comparing this team to the likes of, let's say, Mount Albert Grammar, perhaps, they still have a bit of a ways to go. I want to see some of the other players rise to Ferret Goat's level, start trying to develop some pass plays, play defense off the backboard a bit stronger. That's going to be super critical as we move later into this season.
Yeah, but speaking about later into the season, Formal, we still have one more game later today in about an hour and a half, so 5 o'clock, guys. There is another Rocket League game, so make sure you come back for that game, because that hopefully be just as an exciting series as we witnessed between Palmerston North and Ashburton College.